All right, guys. Let's finally get to a little bit of JoJo Siwa. This video is about her rebranding. It's called JoJo Siwa and the Anatomy of a Failed Rebrand by Jimmy Robbins. I feel a little bad for her, but at the same time, not that bad for her. I saw that apparently she DMCA her team or something. DMCA struck Meat Canyon because he sang her song for like 5 seconds. Horribly. Well, it was actually better than her. And they had a problem with that. It's wild. So she seems to be spiraling. I was talking to my wife a little bit about her. We talked about how like it's very performative. Her change to be more mature. It's really just what she thinks mature would look like as somebody who hasn't matured beyond like 12. Well, let's be real. I mean, and part of the problem is she got famous when she was really young, and she's got a lot of that going on. So I understand that. I could feel empathy for that, but at the same time, you got to surround yourself with people that are more real to you instead of just telling you what they think you want to hear so that they can make money off you. But yeah, let's just get going, bro. JoJo Siwa. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
That would transition her career from...
All right, start over.
JoJo Siwa set out for a rebrand that would transition her career from oversized hair bows to being a generation's counterculture beacon of cool. But
damn, that was a harsh sentence, brother.
Because of a couple of key missteps, both past and present, she is now one of the most universally mocked people online.
I feel like some of the mocking would have been fine. It's just like she still could have came back from it, but it's so much.
Hey, guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh.
I was a bad girl.
My thing is she's not being cringe on purpose just to try to get attention. It just accidentally happened for her.
You think she's ever taken like a perk 30 and like cussed somebody out?
What kind of question is that?
Which leads one to wonder,
what kind of fucking question is that?
what brought JoJo to this point? How could this have been avoided? And does JoJo possibly deserve this treatment? Now, JoJo got her start on the reality show Dance Moms, a program that aimed to showcase the people brave enough to ask, what if we treat children like professional dancers instead of, children? Which is
Great question. Sounds illegal.
always a great idea and demonstrates why putting kids in show business just makes sense.
Fix this hair, because it's horrible.
It's not my fault. Your kid is not as good as my kid.
Yeah, that sounds abusive. It's so interesting because I feel like that's what was more acceptable back then. Now people will be like, hey, this is kind of abusive. We should not allow this to happen.
You're talking about making my daughter cry, so shut it.
Talk about what?
Yeah, how many times did my daughter beat your daughter this year?
You're just jealous that Bryn has had a better season than Kendall. It's all over social media. It
This seems really toxic and hard. What a horrible show. Fuck!
doesn't.
Kendall, don't listen to her.
Now, JoJo quickly became the show's breakout star, due in part to her existing following, upbeat personality.
Yeah, I know that there's some accusations about her running like her own little pop group or whatever for kids. And I feel like, I don't know the specifics, but if you had such a bad time in that sphere that you grew up in, why not try to make it a little better for the other youngsters,
And for being one of the show's most skilled dancers despite being roughly 11. And her brand was just as upbeat as her, with her signature look being comically large hair bows that you can find at Walmart with her face front and center. And
By the way, smart tactic to sell it at Walmart. I'm just saying, let everybody get a little bit of that instead of going crazy and locking that behind a paywall, we'll say, making it too expensive.
while she went on to work with Nickelodeon, the most interesting parts of her career since can be found in her time online. See, JoJo has become a pretty prominent influencer, amassing huge followings on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And while her Dance Moms fame was largely focused on what she could do, these platforms showcase much more of who JoJo is. For example, her relationship.
Or at least who she wants you to think she is.
Once JoJo came out as a lesbian, her content began to showcase her dating life. And while that would include the typical couple
Shit, what happened to just being gay and not talking about it? Just jack off to some gay porn. Not tell everybody about it, you know what I mean?
content, in JoJo's case, it also became pretty focused on breakups.
I want you to listen for a very special ad-lib.
I'm 20 and I broke up with somebody that's significant to me. I imagine it is, but not to me.
Because it is about one of my exes.
I watched a YouTube video of my ex,
Oh my God, why are you talking about it so much?
and now I'm just sad, and so I'm just sitting in the car.
Who's your favorite ex? LOL. What a question. I bet you want to know.
She's fucking 20. How much could you really have going on in your goddamn life at 20 years old? What the fuck?
Who my favorite of my exes is.
Because once she turned 18, JoJo entered the typical phase of wanting to convince everyone that she was, in fact, an adult now. But much like other child
Yeah, that's typical of children.
stars, JoJo was doing this in front of a global audience.
I just saw a video of JoJo Siwa on a podcast saying that she likes to be choked.
And this was the
That's fucking weird. I feel like that's not even true. What the fuck?
start of JoJo trying to
Oh, there's a
redefine her
cat.
image and be taken more seriously
Here
by
you
the
go, buddy.
world. Yes, instead of rainbow hair ties, she wants to be the forbidden love child of Darth Maul and Yoda, I guess.
Dream guest on my podcast?
This fucking kills me. I feel like it's more of like a kiss thing. She wants to look like a Kiss person. You know what I mean?
But jokes aside, a good rebrand does wonders for one's pockets. I mean, there are a ton of A-listers who owe their status to exactly that. So it makes a lot of sense that when JoJo relaunched her music career with the song Karma, she saw her opportunity to follow in those footsteps. But to say that JoJo made some miscalculations along the way.
Now, I heard that she said, what the fuck are you wearing? Okay, I don't even know. Is this... Okay. I heard that she claimed she wrote the song and she was bragging about that, and then I came out that somebody else wrote the song, which, by the way, is fine that she bought the song from somebody else. It just strikes me as a little bizarre that that you would claim that you wrote the song, you know? It just seems a little bizarre.
Way would be an incredible understatement, because a miscalculation doesn't usually launch the career of someone who left the industry a decade ago while making you a TikTok laughingstock. And what's so interesting about this is that it's really only something that could have happened to JoJo Siwa, or at least someone who manages to have
What the hell is this?
both JoJo's past, but also her ego, which sounds harsh, but hear me out. Now, there is a lot to say about JoJo constantly putting her foot in her mouth and being blinded by arrogance.
I have the best rebrand. That's funny. Well, I feel like, though, what's interesting is that I feel like the best rebrands would just be not announcing it or trying to be so significant about it. I feel like a lot of these people in your rebrands, it's more of an attention grab than some kind of a rebrand. It's less of a, like, you know what, I want to change for what I perceive as the better or go in a new direction. And it's more of like, hey guys, I'm different now. Please watch more of me. You know, it's an attention grab. So wouldn't it be better to rebrand slowly? You know, to just kind of, I can't speak for my fucking life. Just kind of maybe shift it up a little bit, change it up a scooch, as some would say, instead of trying to kind of jam it down people's throats. It comes off as more authentic as well, which I think is a factor. Something to certainly think about, at least.
I said, I want to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. I am the first
What?
in the generation. It is very scary, but...
The fuck is gay pop? I feel like we already have that. It has to already exist. What are you talking about?
Someone's got to do it.
But first, it's important to note why so many...
Sounds like she really wants to be unique. I mean, if you really think about it, she's accomplished a lot. Like, I know it sounds silly to say. I'm not even glazing her, but like, she has accomplished a lot. So for her, it might be like, oh, I want something even newer. I want to come up through this, that. But girl, chill the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
People were ready to jump at the opportunity to make fun of her. You see, a rebrand is best for taking people who like or are neutral towards you and making them love you. The problem is, JoJo is starting at being largely disliked, which makes any kind of rebrand...
Is she really largely disliked? I didn't think people disliked her that much. I thought she was all right. What the fuck?
Much more difficult. But what could someone known for colorful hair bows do to piss off so many people? Well, despite how young she is, JoJo's already been involved in quite a few controversies. Though if controversial is what she's going for, then why is that such a problem? Well, during a controversial rebrand...
Well, if you're trying to go for controversy, then, like, you know, you're trying to rage bait people, so it's not really good.
The celebrity in question will usually be polarizing in one key area while remaining fairly squeaky clean otherwise. A common way to do this is by being more sex positive, which generally turns off the older crowd that the celebrity wasn't trying to win over in the first place, while the younger demographic tends
to... Yeah, or Lil Nas X already has gay pop.
To love sex positivity, so they end up aligning with the celebrity's values while seeing them as an inspiring figure that's overcoming adversity. I mean, nothing makes you want to do something more than your parents telling you not to, right? But JoJo's
yeah, I guess so.
Controversies are different in that they're
Elton John, Lady Gaga, very good.
Pretty widespread, meaning it's more likely that something about JoJo is going to be a huge turnoff for you, or that you'll look at her behavior and end up concluding that...
Well, the controversial part is that she's fucking obnoxious.
She's just a bad person, and let's face it, she's not someone like Kanye who has enough talent to make that sort of thing work.
I don't think that Kanye's rebranding to try to be a bad person. I think that Kanye is going through like a legitimate fucking mental health crisis. Let's just be clear here.
But what exactly are these controversies? Well, remember how JoJo Siwa got her start on Dance Moms, a show where adults justified putting kids in abusive environments by saying it would make them successful? Well, JoJo herself actually stood up to this treatment various times while on the show.
She deserves nothing. No crying children. None.
Damn, that's fucked up.
If you yell at me, I'm gonna cry.
Get out. Is that really a costume?
You wanna see a costume?
So now that she's an adult,
I love America. I like the costume.
You would probably expect JoJo to use her influence to promote a gentler approach to dance, especially with kids, right?
You would think.
Right? But instead, it looks like she repeated the cycle verbatim, which started with JoJo launching her own reality show that had young girls compete for a spot in the pop group XOMG Pop, which JoJo would co-manage. And for the most part, JoJo was a likable enough teacher during the show's filming.
I saw this video of you freestyling on your social media. Do you know what video I'm talking about? But if you do that, you can hang with these kids. I know you can.
But even then, you have to question JoJo choosing to recreate that.
She's still a fucking kid, no? Like, I don't know, at least to me.
Environment. Because even if we generously assume that JoJo isn't going to be as bad as her mentors, she knows that kids will still be treated horribly by their parents because that's just what happens when you put kids in show business. But that
Well, I feel like it's a lot of times these kids, these parents are pieces of shit, and they're like desperately like pushing these kids in a very toxic way. But I guess that's also how you get to that point, huh?
Generous assumption doesn't even seem to be true, as Rolling Stone reported that multiple members and associates of the group have accused JoJo of fostering an abusive environment, with JoJo allegedly screaming insults during rehearsals as well as pitting the girls against one another.
JoJo, meanwhile, could also be nasty and domineering, according to sources, a sharp contrast from her upbeat persona. At one point, they alleged she screamed insults at the girl during the performance. They also alleged that she's played a role in helping to build a cutthroat environment long after the cameras were gone, playing favorites and putting members in. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. You have to see where it goes. I wouldn't doubt that some of her old behaviors that she was like treated with had carried over into the way that she's treating them, you know. But then also a lot of times when it comes to any lawsuit, you need to be skeptical when you hear something like that, or when anything that comes out like this in general. But I think that it is turning into a lawsuit. But anyway, when you see something like this, you gotta kind of pace it out, because a lot of times each side they will be very sensational on their own side. So like they'll be like, she was horribly abusive, and then she'll say, well, we weren't abusive at all, and then there's some truth in the middle somewhere. So I wouldn't take everything that's said here as fact. So.
While JoJo's mother was accused of calling the girls names, being ableist, and even risking the physical well-being of the dancers.
I feel like you kind of have to be ableist. Just to be clear, I'm not trying to be rude. In like a dancing thing, you like, what, like, you know, oh, I'm in a wheelchair, can I dance? God said no. And I don't mean to say I wish you could, but you know, not everybody can be Drake and get out of that chair. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. Like, when it's like, oh, ableism, that's bad. Ableism is bad. But it's like, well, you know, and one is shaming them for having a disability. Like, what's the disability? If this person, you know, if you got fucking fibromyalgia, maybe trying to be part of a fucking pop group where you're singing and dancing and you're on your feet for a long time, it might not be for you. Again, I don't know all the specifics. I'm just saying some of these things are something to think about. You know, it'd be like, if the baseball's ableist because they won't let my crippled brother with fucking Parkinson's disease play. But it's like, yeah, but I could kind of get it. It's a terrible thing, but you know, there's just a lot of information going on there.
With one alleging that they were encouraged to dance while still recovering from spinal surgery. Even worse, they started bleeding from their belly button during a rehearsal and were allegedly told to cover it with a maxi pad and continue dancing rather than address the injury. And this hasn't even resulted in a successful product, as 4 of the original band members have already left the group without explanation, and the band itself hasn't really experienced
there's probably like an NDA or something. We'll find out in like 10 years.
any lasting success. Now, of course, the Siwas have come out and denied these claims. However, JoJo has separately defended and dismissed how she was treated as a child pursuing dance.
This is gonna be a little controversial to say, I think, but to me, Abby was always right. She wasn't just yelling at me because she wanted to yell at me. I actually was a mess and was a beat off. One thing that I've learned, like really working insane in Hollywood, is that that's normal. And it's like, it's scary that that's normal, but that taught me how to survive in the industry.
Very interesting. Hearing her say that leads me to believe that there's a high level of truth to what they're saying. Let's be absolutely clear. Whatever person that was yelling at her, bad person, in my opinion. This is the thing with people who have anger problems. I need people to understand. This is something that you need to understand. JoJo probably doesn't understand. People with anger problems, typically, I'd say 90+% of the time, have the right to be angry. Their anger in general, the existence of their anger is justifiable, right? This is something that, like, I have anger problems, right? And I've worked on them tremendously. But the problem is how proportionate your anger gets, right? So, like, I don't know what a for instance would be, but, you know, let's say you're hanging out in bed and, you know, your wife farts on you. You might get a little angry, but like, oh, Jesus Christ, like, what the fuck? That was her mom? I don't know. Who cares a shit? It's one of the moms. Now, that's a normal response. Oh, what the fuck? Why are you farting on me? Or you go like this. But if you have anger problems, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, start screaming at the person. Like, that's the problem, is the proportionality of anger. And so it sounds like JoJo has rationalized the disproportionality of anger against her from whatever bitch that was. But that's not good. You need to separate the justifier for the anger from the proportionality of the anger. She might have been justified to be angry, but the proportionality is crazy. So something to think about.
Even just growing up in the dance world, a dance teacher is like, that's normal.
So I don't know about
it shouldn't be
you, but for me, her dismissing her dance instructors being abusive by saying, oh, that's just how they are, and then being accused of recreating that environment.
And you could also argue she's just trying to exist in a toxic sphere where that probably is normal. But my thing is like, you shouldn't try to be part of that. You know, you should be like, yeah, that's not how it is and all that, but you shouldn't try to be part of that Because part of it sounds like maybe she's justifying being a piece of shit by saying, well, they need to learn this because once they leave my group at some point, because they're going to age out, I would imagine, they need to learn how to exist outside of that. They have to, but it's still shitty,
It's not a great look, especially when you consider how the other girls from the show talk about that experience.
I think she was willing to do whatever it took to make sure she got the outcome she wanted.
She just couldn't stand to see you happy.
No. Yeah, I thought it wasn't enough, like in every single way. And it wasn't until about a year ago that I realized the way I felt about myself were her words still lingering with me, like 10 years later. She doesn't
That's brutal.
define me anymore. She doesn't get that power.
All these people look like adults. Why does JoJo Siwa still look like a fucking kid? Does she drink alcohol? Does mom drink alcohol or something?
Or over me.
What message would you like to send Abby Lee, if anything?
I have a life of peace now, and I have a successful career now, and it's
I mean, JoJo's argument's going to be here that she seems to be the only one that's still maintained her success afterwards.
spite of her, not because of hers.
And sometimes we were dancing on concrete, which is so bad, and I have permanent cankles from that. Thank you, Abby Lee Miller.
I feel like the girls and Abby were downplaying the injuries because she didn't want it to affect the dances, and she wanted us to dance anyway.
Not to mention that JoJo herself admitted to engaging in self-harm as a result of that environment.
I took the stress out all on this side of my head, which is why I have no hair right here. It's why
What did she just pull it out?
on this side. I used to get this stress rash right here, and I just pick it all day long. And now
Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
I don't have hair right there. It's really bad.
But either way, when talking about this report against JoJo, it being true or not kind of doesn't really matter since we're talking about JoJo's image instead of her character. See, the timing of this report could not have been worse, as it released in February of 2024, which is significant because 2024 has seen a sharp increase in public scrutiny towards the treatment of children in show business. So it makes sense
That's a good thing, of course.
so this would turn a lot of people against JoJo. And that's not even her only controversy involving children. See, JoJo has also maintained
Maybe that's why JoJo's succeeded, because she was mentally stronger. Yeah, but that's the thing is like, because the argument there is like, well, she was able to succeed where, I'm just going to say 10 people, 9 other girls couldn't because they couldn't handle it. But it's like, maybe those other 9 other people could have succeeded if they weren't barraged by fucking a piece of shit.
a very public friendship with disgraced YouTuber Colleen Ballinger, who spent 2023 dealing with a swarm of accusations of acting predatory towards minors.
Yeah, she wasn't predatory towards minors. Just to be clear, very inappropriate, not grooming, not predatory. Extraordinary boundary issues. She deserved criticism, but it did get sensationalized and blown out of proportion. So,
Colleen, for all the messages that I've now, for the first time, shown my mom that you have messaged me, virgin, aspects, sexual position, period talk.
I'm not going over all this again. This is like fucking in the past. I don't care. I'm just saying.
Like all this, sex with your ex-husband, Josh's size, all this.
She was literally in DMs talking to children
That's a wig, bitch.
about sex. Here's one. Are you a virgin? This is Colleen in a group chat with children. She's also asking, what's your favorite position? These are children.
With some of this behavior even extending to creating entertainment at their expense during her stage shows.
I will never forget where I was laying under Colleen and she was smirking down at me while thousands of people were laughing, and I was terrified that my body wasn't covered enough.
Well, you should have dressed better. I don't know. What the fuck? Her dad was there with her. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not getting into this.
I basically felt naked, so it felt incredibly sexually violating. As someone who has been sexually assaulted, this situation gave me that same feeling.
And this all climbed.
Why'd you go on stage? That's from being an asshole. We're not talking about this anymore.
Max with easily the most infamous apology video in internet history, which is really saying
the apology was pretty bad, actually. It was pretty dog shit, I will say.
something.
The only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser.
And from a PR perspective, you would expect JoJo to probably distance herself from Colleen, at least publicly, right? Especially when you consider how Colleen made a mockery of some pretty serious claims with her song. But instead, JoJo was quick to come to Colleen's defense, saying that the internet was upset over nothing.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far, to the point where you just can't do anything about it. I think the problem is the internet was able to capitalize off of her cancellation. And
well, there's a level of truth to that. It doesn't mean that all of it is a lie. It is a sensation. What Colleen did was very wrong, but it was sensationalized to a disproportionate degree. And I don't think JoJo understands that. The way that she talked about, because I remember watching this, the way that she talks about it, it comes off as like she wouldn't have, she would, even if Colleen did actually do it, groom kids, she would have came to her defense. She'd be like, no. That's one of the problems. I don't think that it's necessarily like a super in-depth take on the topic. So
they still are, and they still are continuing to, and it's not okay because a lot of it is based off of lies.
Which, as you'll see, is pretty par for the course from JoJo, who sees the internet as an insincere collective of haters who couldn't possibly be providing constructive feedback.
There's a very high level of truth there. One of the things I've learned, when people are giving you criticism, every single time, even if there is like actual justifier for it, it's always disproportionate. It's your responsibility as a content creator to learn to, you know, parse through that information correctly. But that absolutely is like, it is true. Like it is. People will be disproportionate about everything. And one of the problems like, as a content creator is learning how to, again, separate those two things and to not dismiss all the criticism just because some of it is disproportionate, because you're obviously not going to win out there. It's not a particularly smart way to operate. So,
and this friendship is ongoing, as Colleen was invited to Karma's release party. And since Colleen's misconduct is documented better than what you'd find in the Discovery Channel, anyone aware of that situation now has a reason to not like JoJo Siwa. And it doesn't help that JoJo arguably managed to downplay and enable the exploitation and abuse of children again. It's not a good look. And that's not JoJo's only controversial friendship. There's also James Charles, who also has a not so great history with contacting minors as well.
Two different people, both under the age of 18, have recently come forward saying that they had inappropriate messages to me on social media.
I'm not a big fan of James Charles, but again, when we're talking about like a 20-year-old like messaging 16-year-olds without confirming age in some instances, like it's not good behavior, but I feel like again, the implication is that like they're all some type of fucking predator. It's like the internet is interesting, I'll tell you that.
An adult, it is my job and my responsibility to verify who I'm talking to, and therefore there is no one to blame for this other than myself.
So you now have 3 separate instances of JoJo either being accused of abusing kids or maintaining a close friendship with someone facing similar accusations that have been JoJo either being accused of abusing
to blame for this other than myself.
So you now have 3 separate instances of JoJo either being accused of abusing kids or maintaining a close friendship with someone facing similar accusations that have been proven to be true. There's also
then why would you call them accusations if you're saying that they're proven to be true? Okay, I don't care.
So JoJo's public feud with her ex-girlfriend Avery Cyrus. Now look, I don't think any of us are overly interested in JoJo's dating life, so I'll keep it simple. Both sides of this conflict have made some dislike JoJo, with some finding JoJo's actions to be performative and desperate.
Well, they probably are. She seems like she wants to be the type of person that was like, I was hurt in a relationship. It's like, you're a fucking kid. What are you talking about, idiot? You know?
Mad? Why are you mad? Because I got used. For what? For views.
Well, why are you talking about it on the internet? It's like childish behavior. You don't have to announce everything online, you know? I feel like everybody wants, like all these people want that. I want to be, it's like you get the Taylor Swift effect. Oh, hello, let me get a new boyfriend so I can dump him and say he was shit. That's just how it comes off to me, at least. I'll just say it.
Wow! And I got tricked into being told that I was loved.
Wow, so sad.
While Avery has released videos telling stories of past relationship perils, some of which are strongly believed to be about JoJo.
Oh shit, she's also a fucking kid. How many relationships do you think that she was in?
My girlfriend at the time was like, I think I should text my ex and let her know that there's no bad blood between us. Turns out she sent more messages, something along the lines of, oh, I still have the thing you gave me when we first met. 3 days later, she dropped me off at the airport to go home. And as soon as I walked through my front door, she sends me a voice memo breaking up with me through voice memo.
So this kind of messy public behavior has turned off a whole other group of people. So yeah, JoJo's rebrand was destined to be an uphill battle. Due to her past, many people are now quick to highlight every mistake she makes during this journey, and there have been quite a few. See, despite her experiences in media, JoJo isn't the best when it comes to optics, which is made very clear when you pay attention at how she's acted throughout the release of her song. Now, this started mildly with people making fun of JoJo's choreography for Karma, because yeah, it was
she looks like she's having a fucking, like a seizure, a goddamn episode, so.
Bad.
I feel like this by itself is just silly. It wouldn't have been so bad. I feel like she reacted to it improperly, though.
But even something as small as this led to a more tangible reason for some to dislike JoJo. See, other dancers started posting videos of them doing JoJo's dance. And for many, these videos demonstrated that the problem with JoJo's videos wasn't in the choreography itself, but instead with JoJo's dancing.
Oh, I didn't know that. We're getting real deep into this bizarre fucking JoJo lore. Okay, so she's just also a dog shit dancer. Oh, okay. Well, that's sad, man. Imagine being fucking basically, to some degree, abused your whole life to be the perfect dancer and then just still not being a good dancer. That would make me fucking sad, man.
Like she was going out of her...
That would make me so... That would be devastating. Holy shit. That'd be fucked up, man. Holy moly.
Way to look like she was dancing harder than anyone else could. But as someone who can't even dance a no-step, even I know that control is more important in dancing than flailing.
Alright, I don't know what that means.
5, 6, it's not a mess clap, it's a 1 strong. It's not party. That's messy. We don't like messy, okay? We gotta be clean.
So it started with people.
Damn, that was brutal, brother. You fucking owned her on that one.
People just making fun of JoJo from an artistic perspective turned into people finding her personally obnoxious. And look, it sucks to be the internet's punching bag, but that's what JoJo quickly became, and she needed to pick the right response. Because a good response can be make or break when the internet is ganging up on you. I mean, just...
What the... Oh, this guy. You did the SNL guy. Man, they did him so fucking dirty too. It's crazy.
Take Jake Novak, who disappeared for a year, released a pretty well-received meta sketch, and went back into silence. His comments have done a complete...
Yeah, I mean, that again, that's trying to... You got to learn how to deal with people being a little mean to you, man. You just got to learn to deal with it the right way, or you're going to get fucking dumpstered 24/7.
180. Alternatively, you could take it very personally, lash out, and make it all tremendously worse, aka the Colleen. You should never go with the Colleen.
Hey, everybody.
Or you could just not give a shit. Be honest with you, you try to do your best to just be like, whatever, dude. Nah, try not to care as much as possible. Yeah.
I'm not someone new to her rap. She did some things that I do not like in her past. So everybody gather around because we're about to attack.
So of course, that's exactly what JoJo did.
Like it or not, what's been in your head the last 3 days?
You see, the more I listen to JoJo speak, and the more
Skibbity toilet.
learn about her in general, the more I feel that she has a
When's my next break? You come down whenever you want and talk to me.
massive ego. I mean, you can even see it during her dance bump.
I mean, she's not wrong. I feel like that by itself, like, what have you been in your head for the past? Like, yeah, she's not wrong. It has been in her head. But, like, you don't need to cope and say that. You could just, like, let it ride. I feel like you'd come off a little better. Just, like, let it ride and, you know, don't say it. I don't know. Because it's a cope when you're like, yeah, well, this is in your head. You actually are watching my stuff, so... You know, don't announce that they're getting to you, girl.
Days where her instructor, Abby Lee Miller, would note that JoJo was terrible in any setting where she couldn't be the center of attention.
Some kids just aren't good group dancers. They want to be stars. They want to be soloists. To be a successful working dancer, you need to dance with everybody. JoJo can't do that.
Abby was
Damn, JoJo.
always right.
And honestly, it's not hard to see where this ego comes from when you hear how JoJo's mother talks about her.
My daughter JoJo is the most famous teenager on the planet.
Fun fact.
Damn, JoJo D'Amelio, baby.
I'm petty, so I asked Gemini, ChatGPT, and Meta AI to name the 5 most famous teenagers in the world when that came out. And not only did none of them mention JoJo, but ChatGPT actually...
Hey, listen, she's just giving a little confidence booster to her daughter, okay? You can't blame her for that.
cheated rather than include her. So do with that what you will. But in trying to promote Karma, JoJo set out on somewhat of a media tour, getting in front of any camera that would have her and trying to cause controversy, with no bad publicity and all that.
Did she actually try to cause controversy, or did she just a fucking stupid idiot that caused controversy? I feel like those are 2 different things, though.
So for somebody to open your comments and comment, they're enjoying it. It's fun for them.
And at first, this started with JoJo directly labeling the song as a rebrand and talking it up quite a bit.
No one has made this dramatic of a change yet.
All right, are you coming in here? Want to take a break from this video or what? All right.
No one has made, in my generation, this extreme of a switch.
Yeah, of course. Maybe that is true. Has anybody made this extreme of a switch? But, I mean, it looks extreme, right? It looks extreme. She goes from basically the representation of the store Claire's to trying to be like Gene Simmons from Kiss to the best of her ability. That is kind of an extreme switch. I'm not going to lie. She's got a good point. I just don't know how productive it is. And I don't know how, you know, visually it's extreme. But like I said before, it comes off, it's like a performative extreme. She's still extraordinarily immature looking. It's like, hey guys, I'm grown up now, right? It's like a fucking 14-year-old putting on makeup and being like, I'm a grown woman, you know? That's the energy that I get here.
And I am the first in the generation. It is very scary, but someone's got to do it. People are not going to like it. People are going to be mad at me, for sure.
The internet has definitely made me feel like I'm a f***ing psychopath. I realized something. I am a f***ing psychopath.
Oh, she's a psychopath.
And this is some that only I can do.
There's never really been an influencer child star turned into musician adult star.
What the fuck are you talking about? I feel like we've constantly seen people that do that. What?
You know what I mean? There's never
I don't. Explain.
really been this transition. Now we're going as big as we possibly can, and then, you know, somehow we'll go bigger. But we don't know how, but we'll figure it out eventually. And there's nothing more ballsy than this song.
You see,
what the fuck are you talking about, bitch? Is she playing up the Karma song that much? Come on, that's the problem. You played this song up so much. You made this and went, this is the breakout. This is going to blow everyone's mind.
a major reason that I think JoJo's egotistical is because no one is quicker to compliment JoJo Siwa than, well, JoJo Siwa.
This song.
Yeah, she's got to hit that cope or she would have fucking taken herself out with that horrible woman, you know?
Maybe me as a whole is people's guilty pleasure.
We created $1 billion empire.
My videos have over 3.5 billion views, which is... it's amazing, honestly, considering that I never, ever promote my YouTube channel. Look where I am now. I am giving the world art. And I am
That I hate that hat so much.
Setting the record for the youngest guest host ever. Man, I like setting records. It's fun. We know what works. We know what doesn't. We know what to do. We know how to get there. We know what it takes. We know the difference in a kid that has it and a kid that just doesn't. I am so
that fuck.
happy, so proud, so
Josh Peck.
so excited to bring this version of pop music back.
It is a work of art.
We always have said
It's a work of fart, baby. It's a work of fart.
that dance is kind of my secret weapon. You know, it's in my back pocket. It's something that I can bust out. And I was thinking, you know, since I have a lot
Bust it out, Tatiana. You know what I'm saying?
of influence over kids.
And in general, JoJo tends to overestimate how media savvy she is. For example, that pop group of hers that I mentioned before, she originally talked about it being the next Jackson 5.
There's something missing in the world of music, and that is kids pop original music. There's been no explosive kids group since the Jackson 5.
Really? Is that true? I don't know any examples because I don't listen to children's music, but that can't be real that there is no explosive. Is that real? I feel like that's not real. Also, do we need a fucking kids group? Really? You know? I don't know.
I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure these kids become stars.
Despite being anything but. Also, in launching that group, JoJo decided to just give them her personal YouTube channel, which...
I mean, like, what makes... I'm gonna ask this question, and maybe this is gonna come off as ignorant. What makes JoJo feel like she can do that? Like, how does she? Part of me feels like I know JoJo's successful, but is JoJo a successful dancer, or was she a successful reality TV show person and the show centralized around dancing? And I could just not know. I could just be extraordinarily out of touch on this question, but it just, to me, I could be wrong, like I said, but to me, it kind of feels like JoJo is not a successful dancer. JoJo is like a mediocre dancer, that got very popular because of a reality TV show where she got screamed at all the time. So I don't know. Why does she feel like she can fucking get people to that degree? You know? Which, and by the way, I kind of understand it, you know, as a content creator. I know this is so stupid, and I'm like nowhere near any of the people I talk about, but I understand, like, I guess I understand what it's like. I guess she just thinks that she just doesn't get what she's doing. I don't know. She just doesn't get what she's doing. Like, you're successful. You're a reality TV show person, and you think that you're dancing. She's famous for dancing. But is she famous for dancing, or is she famous for a reality TV show? What major dancing thing has she done since that? Dance Moms was about the moms being horrible mothers. Like, let's be real. The dancing was secondary. It was really just like displaying fucking abuse on TV for fucking fun. So I don't know if she got famous for dancing. You know, she got famous for being yelled at a lot. I know it's really shitty, but what the fuck? I mean, that's the truth, no?
Yeah, someone not familiar with YouTube might think that's a no-brainer because, wow, the band now has a YouTube channel with over 10 million subscribers. That's more than nearly any other group. But any YouTube analyst will tell you that one subscriber number is a much less powerful metric than it was a decade ago. In fact, that kind of move is one of the quickest ways to wind up with a dead channel, as you're suddenly bombarding your audience with content they didn't subscribe for, thus they won't click on it and will instead unsubscribe from the channel, which teaches the algorithm that the new content from this channel isn't getting clicks, so it shouldn't be promoted. And for proof of what I'm saying, just look at the channel. When the content was centered around JoJo, the videos were consistently hitting 1 million views. But in the last 2.5 years since handing the channel over, only one video has cracked that number, and the channel now struggles to reach even 1/10 of that. And to me,
what do they have, 7,000 views? Well, that's fucking terrible. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. When you drastically shift your content, it's not likely that you'll maintain everybody. You have to be fucking lucky if you do.
It says a lot that this kind of mistake is usually made by corporations unfamiliar with YouTube, like Discovery trying to jack the SourceFed channels only to be forced to abandon the idea, and yet we're seeing the same exact mistake be made by a self-proclaimed generational media expert.
There's the two lanes of...
My thing is, like, are there no people that you can hire professionally that have an understanding of how fucking YouTube works?
Of celebrities, right? There's mainstream celebrity and then there's influencer celebrity. I'm somewhere in the middle. I've had both. You know what I mean? I'm really the only person in my generation that has grown up with the like 50-50 mix of both.
And her understanding of social media is even worse. So as people continue turning against her, JoJo tried and failed to steer into the controversy. You see, as these interviews went on, JoJo attempted to adopt the kind of likably arrogant persona that someone like Robert Downey Jr., Kanye, or Cardi B are famous for.
Let's just be clear. Is Kanye likable for that? I mean, I guess he kind of is. He did go fucking insane, but people liked him because he was a little arrogant. I've listened to some of his music. It's not bad, but some of it can be a little arrogant.
Look at you.
This is very RDJ, right?
It's very good. You really are taking cues from the master now.
How many records can my records break?
More records.
But I'm the best.
And I want to thank my haters too because.
The problem is, I just named 3 titans in their industry.
Yeah, all 3 black guys. So, JoJo, stop appropriating that culture, am I right?
Yet JoJo is just starting out and is saying stuff like this.
Like it or not, what's been in your head the last 3 days?
Like it or not, you're gonna look.
And while she's going for
Like it or not, incredible.
confident, it just ends up coming off as laughable, not to mention disrespectful towards other artists.
I don't care that music video.
I don't know if it comes off as disrespectful. It just comes off as disconnected and stupid. It feels like some of these other girls from the Dance Mom show are going to end up like growing up and being reasonably successful, like upper middle class, and they're just going to be happier because they're not a fucking crazy like JoJo.
These aren't trending anymore like this.
I'm gonna do
They
it.
weren't trending either before Lady Gaga did them, and then all of a sudden, booyah, Lady Gaga becomes Lady Gaga.
And this led to JoJo's worst slip of the tongue yet.
What would you call the genre?
The genre is, I said it back in the day when I first signed with Columbia, I said I want to.
Back in the day, guys. What are you, 20? Isn't she 20? Is she 21 now? Back in what day, bro? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm getting older, and I can start saying back in the day. I'm like right on the border of being able to say that and it having any like significant value. What the fuck are you doing though?
Start a new genre of music, and they said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, it's called gay pop." And they were like, "What's that?" And I was like, "It's like K-pop, right? But it's gay pop."
You see,
K-pop is Korean pop, so it's just pop that people from Korea do. I don't understand. Gay pop is stupid and it's desperate. It's like desperate to really be unique. It's like, stop, please. Like, that's just silly. I think that I don't know if she just, I don't understand them. I really don't get it. Like, is she that fucking deluded that she thinks that she's gonna come up with something new, or what? Well, does she look at any other people outside of herself, or does she just like, oh, you know what, I'm gay, and there's nothing called gay pop, so if I do that, that's new, right? Okay, great.
JoJo has been consistently trying to gain the support of the queer community. Yet with just that comment, she managed to do the opposite as, again, what she said came across as incredibly disrespectful.
If she if she called it F-slur pop, they might have liked it more. I don't know what it is, but I'm hanging around a lot of gays, and they like using their own slur a lot. They don't say it with a soft day like my brothers do. Of course, and sisters, don't even front, doggy, right? But they love that fucking word. It's actually crazy, man.
Part of being young.
When they say it, they don't like it when I said it. They got upset with me, but I was like, sorry. And then I said it with a soft day afterwards, and they gave me the nod, like, you're cool, you're cool.
And queer and coming out and joining this community, entering into this space is learning your history and knowing just how much work it has taken to get us where we are today.
What the hell is this person?
You were this close to not violently disrespecting all of your queer elders, and you just flew over them all.
Queer elders? You guys are also weirdos. What the fuck, queer elders? What the hell? What are you doing? What the hell kind of game? What game are we playing here?
I was defending JoJo Siwa, and I felt really bad about how many people.
How come all of them are white women that are talking shit? Interesting question, Papa Gut. Thank you.
People were making fun of her until she said that she is going to invent gay pop.
And to say something.
Always a white woman. Or maybe they're non-binary. I'm sorry if I misgendered you, miss. Fuck. Into person.
As outlandish at the age of 20.
And then immediately went on to list artists and their songs that already fit under the genre of gay pop. She was like, you know, like Born This Way by Lady Gaga.
She actually deserves 100% in all the hate.
Is Lady Gaga gay? Gaga gay?
That she's getting
achingly disrespectful. You cannot have invented something that has been going on since long before you were born.
All right, relax. I don't think it was disrespectful. I think that it was just disconnected.
You're not inventing a genre, homie. You are making a playlist.
Ooh.
And the playlist already exists. You just need a better Spotify.
And when you had the opportunity to ride a hard bar there, and you just did not.
Consider that JoJo is one of the most famous examples of an openly gay celebrity heavily representing their sexuality in their art. It's almost impossible to explain how devastating this really was for her. And while I'm not part of the LGBTQ+ community,
especially since I feel like a lot of young Christian people liked her a lot. You know, she seems like the kind of woman that would like, oh, JoJo's so nice. Like, oh, what are you listening to? Doris? That's the name that Christians would give their kids. Oh, don't put on that little Kim. Put on a little JoJo Siwa. Not going to happen anymore. They're going to be like, what the fuck? And they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry for cursing, brothers. You know, I don't know. It just seems like bizarre. She should have stayed a little more. She should have stayed a little bit more in the zone, in the auto zone. Of trying to appeal a little bit to those Christian conservatives. Also, she said she's bisexual. I don't know. Is she bisexual? Or is she trying too hard? You know what I mean? Really, JoJo, you're bisexual? I don't know. Could be wrong.
Even I think that it should have been incredibly obvious to JoJo why that line would be tasteless. Like, while there are still dangers and risks, there has never been a safer time for a rich white musician in America to incorporate their sexuality into their art. And that only happened because of decades of musicians paving the way during times where that could have cost them their lives or careers. Yet JoJo is so quick to take credit after just releasing a song.
Why don't you play that guy Freddie Mercury? I feel like he's like he's a real one. What the fuck?
And in response to the
To be fair, she dated a woman. Yeah, that's true. But girls are weird. All girls are like some kind of bisexual. When a guy's bisexual, then you know it's real. Okay, because that's different. I feel like for women default can kiss another girl and it's not gay. You know what I mean? Like women can kind of pull it off. As a guy, you jerk one dude off and all of a sudden, like, you know, they tell you to leave the restaurant. This is a family establishment. I'm just in here and I'm like, bro, come on. It's a Chili's. It's not that big of a deal. But my thing is like... You know what I'm saying, dude?
Controversy, JoJo just kind of doubled down and tried to tell millions of people that they're purposely misrepresenting her.
I gotta ask you with the K-pop.
Yes.
A lot of people come for you. Do you retract what you said? Have you?
Why did you come for me for that? Literally, what did I do? Here's the thing. I'd be like, I support world peace, and the world would be like, you.
Yeah, I think that JoJo is she's in the zone. She's never learned how to extract the constructive criticism from the disproportionate. Because like those people were being obnoxious about what she said, but that doesn't mean that every criticism is wrong, right? Those people are just fucking going a little too kooky, a little kookabunga, we like to call it sometimes. So you just have to kind of find that and separate the two, you know?
I don't know the world's gonna twist it and turn it and make it anything, so I think I just want to make it more clear that gay pop is a genre. If I said to somebody, name a gay pop artist, they'd go, what's gay pop? You know what I mean?
I think they'd say like...
Well, I guess the issue is that you said you're inventing gay pop, not that it exists. You know,
Gaga, I think they'd say Chappell Roan, they'd say Freddie Mercury, Elton John.
There we go, Freddie Mercury.
Okay, that's valid because I would too. I definitely am not the inventor of gay pop, for sure not. But I do want to be a piece in making it bigger than it already is.
All right, that's fair, but I feel like those are huge names. But like, that would have been better if she had said something along the lines of like, I want to make gay pop like a thing. I know it already exists, but I want people to differentiate it. I want to try to get people to do that. I don't know, sure.
I'm not the creator. But I'm not the president, but I might be like the CEO or the like CMO.
Okay.
I could be the CMO, the chief marketing officer.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
JoJo does this a lot, where she responds to criticism by trying to pass off a completely different statement as what she was actually saying, or by misrepresenting the criticism she or a friend are receiving to try and reshape the narrative. Like, I don't think
that like it's intentional. I don't think that she's being like deceptive when she does any of these things. I think that she's just like, stupid. So
anyone would have minded her saying that she was humbly entering the space with a large platform and wanted to use that to ensure that gay artists can receive greater recognition, such as by having...
Yeah, she kind of admitted that. Like, she said like, oh yeah, you're right, those other people would have done it first. So she kind of did recognize that what she said was a little rambunctious.
Their own music chart, but that's not what she said. I would also argue that her attitude towards doing music in general comes across as being really disrespectful towards other artists. Like, I'm no musician, unless you count High School Marching Band, but I feel like it's abundantly clear that JoJo is not taking this craft seriously at all. To the point that out of everyone, JoJo talking about music reminds me a lot of the Paul brothers back in the day.
Why? I mean, like, again, I think she's probably is taking it seriously. I just don't think that she understands what she's getting into. She's like above her depth, and she has people that surround her that just give her yeses, you know?
They were doing music as a means to chase headlines and promote their merch rather than actually wanting to create art and improve. For example, JoJo cannot sing this song live.
That song hits the lowest in my range and the highest in my range. It was a game of press play. Eventually we will get the take, keep it on loop, and we just looped and looped that one line for hours until we got the right take. And I always told the
what the fuck? Okay, that seems a little interesting that you can't even perform the song live, but okay.
Producers, I was like, look, I will stay in here till we get it. And we will get it, because I won't leave until we do. The vocal sessions, the amount of times I lost.
This makes me feel like, do you think that this actually happened, or do you think that she couldn't hit those depths so they had AI do it? Because you can legitimately have AI sing for you and hit particular we'll say points in your music. So do you think that she had AI do it and she's like, yeah, you know, I struggled so hard to get my highest and lowest in range, but like they really just use AI to touch it up? I wouldn't doubt it.
Lost my voice while recording Karma is actually crazy, but worth it.
She also said,
who cares if she's taking it seriously? I mean, the issue I think is that she's like really hyping it up. Like, this is if she was just chilling the fuck out with some of her energy, I don't think it would have been such a big deal, you know, to what degree she's taking it seriously or not, you know.
That she cared about the music video rather than the song itself.
The Karma music video is actually more my baby than the Karma song itself.
I think the music video really does more justice than the song.
And that she cares more about the song being visible than enjoyable.
I think the biggest thing about this video, I don't care if people like it, I don't care if people hate it, but I want people to turn their head at it, and I want people to notice it.
I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way when someone tries to enter a new space, but so clearly thinks that what they're doing is beneath them.
Maybe if you create
I don't get that insinuation from her at all, that she thinks it's beneath her. What?
a fun environment, or were better at the game you're playing, or even if you just interacted with your chat instead of staring at your phone every time a cutscene comes on, people would see the value in spending money to support your stream. The quickest way to make people—
Oh, is this the girl that said, "Give me money"? If you can watch me for 5 hours a day, you can give me $5. Kind of based, I don't know.
Angry is to act as if you're entitled to their money by merely existing in front of them.
Like, I'm not trying to say that people should know their place, but I also don't think it's unreasonable to say that
I mean, I would say, yeah, some people should know their place.
you should respect the environment you're entering, spend some time paying your dues while making
Fuck the environment. What are you, a fucking liberal pussy?
a name for yourself and focus on honing your craft. And if you're gonna break those rules, you better be damn good at what you're doing. I mean, say what you will about the whole YouTuber book trend, but at least those creators had the common sense to not call themselves once-in-a-generation writers when they were just trying to cash a check. But to be clear, it's not JoJo wanting—
That is true. If she just didn't put all that energy out there, it would be different.
fame and money that I'm talking about here. I mean, just look at Mr. Beast. He straight up says that he always wanted to be a famous YouTuber, that was the only thing he saw himself doing.
I just want to make YouTube videos. That's all I ever want to do. That's all I ever wanted to do.
But when you actually listen to him talk about YouTube, it becomes so clear how much respect and love he has for both the content
All right, fucking glazing Mr. Beast. I do miss the Beast Burger. I thought it was good the couple times that I had it.
and platform, not to mention how much he busted his ass for years. Seriously, compare how Mr. Beast talks about YouTube.
This is what I'm doing to the day I die. I don't care. Like, I love this.
Do you think he busts Chris Tyson's ass now? I'd watch it.
More than anything. Nothing's ever brought me a fraction of the joy. That was the biggest problem, is I thought it was a freak of nature. Because, like, people would tell me, all you do is talk about YouTube. You're too obsessed with YouTube.
To how JoJo Siwa talks about music.
Yeah, I feel like he probably is a freaking... I mean, he's successful, so God bless him, but imagine he wasn't, and he still just talked about YouTube all the time. That'd be fucking crazy. That's why I don't talk about my YouTube outside of YouTube for the most part. I don't really tell anybody about my shit. So.
I gotta, like, bust a nut to get this music done, right? There's also no change in my mind that now this song comes first. Because if I want my moment, this is my 180. This is my moment.
Sorry, I'm just like, fuck, I have drama now, guys. I'm just kidding. I check my phone every once in a while now because I've had some issues with TikTok, like taking shit down. So I'm like trying to like Hawkeye it to see like, okay, is there a fucking notification from them that they did something annoying? You know, so sorry.
Hell, she can't even decide if she's a singer or not.
Like I said, I will never ever claim to be a singer. All right, here's the thing. I'm not just a dancer. I am also a singer. A singer.
And disrespect aside, it is really arrogant to say that you're going to come in and create a genre at the ripe old age of 20. Like,
well, again, I mean, she did kind of retract that a little bit. You showed us her retracting that to give her a little bit of break. Thank you, Matthew T, for the $5. Hi, Papa. Love your content. Been watching since 2006. First time catching stream. That's fucking crazy, brother. That's almost creepy, though. I haven't been making content since that long, so I'm a little scared now.
Like the first example that comes to my mind of someone having that great of an impact on their art at that young of an age is Bo Burnham. Like at the age that JoJo is releasing an okay pop song, Bo released Words, 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 a comedy album that is still relevant 14 years later.
When he grows up to be a comic or actor, he'll be rewarded for never maturing.
But people like him because he would probably laugh at the idea of being given that much credit.
And we're tall white guys. We overcame nothing to be here.
Cringe.
There was nothing standing in our way, and we barely got here. You have no chance.
And of course, that's not where JoJo's arrogant statements end. She also spoke about her rebrand saying this.
We are going from child star to adult artist. No one has made this dramatic of a change yet. No one has.
She's fucking great. She really wants to be the best. Listen, I can appreciate and I can respect the hustle, the drive. You know, I can kind of respect it. I can kind of appreciate that. I'll give her the benefit of that on that one. But I just feel like the way that she's saying it and announcing it, you should keep some of these to yourself. A little arrogant, you know. She could have framed it better. Yeah, she could have said, I want to try to make one of the biggest transitions ever in the entire world. And I would just say, you know, it's 2024. Get a dick, you know. It's illegal now. Do it. Let's see if it looks good. You know what I mean?
Has made in my generation this extreme of a switch, and I am the first in the generation. It is very scary, but someone's gotta do it.
Yeah, she's the first.
Maybe she meant in her family. I'm just kidding.
To rebrand from being a child star to aimed at adults. You know, as long as you don't include Miley Cyrus, Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, Haley Kiyoko, the Sprouse Twins, Liz Gillies, the Jonas Brothers, Ariana Grande, Bella Thorne, Demi Lovato, Big Time Rush, Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, Debbie Ryan, Zendaya, Harry.
Yeah, but if you don't think about those people, she's the greatest of all time.
Styles, Janet McCurdy.
She's literally the GOAT outside of all of those people that you're listening. Think about it like that, idiot, you know? Just kidding. Thank you, Mr. Scoops, for the 5-month small gut. Hi. Hello. How are you? This motherfucker took my goddamn ore that I was going for.
Or Zac Efron. I mean, Janet McCurdy publicly declared that she was glad her mom died, and Miley
That's a hell of a transition, man.
Cyrus went from Hannah Montana to riding a wrecking ball naked.
What do you mean, dude? She went from Hannah Montana to Miley Cyrus.
Meanwhile, JoJo's Rebrand is quite literally nothing. Nothing is actually different about her. She just wears black outfits that are more revealing while constantly saying words like...
Yeah, but I'm not trying to be fucking rude. I'm a man, though. There's nothing to reveal. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Let me just be honest with you, because I don't want to be that guy. Because you know what? She doesn't have a lot of meat in the department. You know what I'm saying? She's not exactly the deli counter. She's not the deli kiosk, if you know what I'm saying. But there are some beautiful women with, you know, that are not packing as much heat. You know, their tits are as big as my dick. You know, and you can still be very beautiful, come off as very attractive. What's the appeal for anybody? Listen, I know what lesbians like. What? I don't think that lesbians like this. I know because we like similar things. And there's two types of general lesbians, right? You got your feminine lesbian, your masculine lesbian. I like the masculine ones better. They're just nicer. Masculine ones definitely aren't looking at this and going, "Holy moly, I'm throbbing right now." And I know that feminine ones aren't looking at this and like, "This is so hot. What the fuck?" Like, who's getting this? Who's getting torqued up on this? You know, if you're trying to have that mature appeal, I mean, he looks like a little bit like a clown. I don't know. Thank you so much for the $2 from Lisa Larson. $2 closer to JoJo Siwa's wealth. That's true. Till I spend it on something else. Thank you for the $5 from Raptor Slayer 2222. Hi, Papa Gut. Love your content. Been watching since freshman year. Turned 18 a few months ago. You've taught me a lot. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Sorry, I fucking have reading comprehension problems. Thank you, Matthew T, for the $5. JoJo Siwa went from pink to punk. She's the new Miley Cyrus. Is that supposed to be like a really obscure like joke about Myron's bald head? Went from balding to budding? I don't know, dude.
Rebrand or era. I mean, JoJo has repeated...
How do I feel about being a guiding light in maturity for young men in high school? Is that true? That's great. That's hopefully I'm doing a good job. That's all I can say.
They talked about how while recording the song, she was afraid to say the B word.
Originally, I was scared of the lyrics.
You have you got 2 Cheerios and no. See, no, I feel like that you could play that off and look attractive. You just have to dress your size. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be my weight and wear a thong. You know, but you can still look good. You just got to dress your size. I feel like with you know, smaller breasts, you can still flaunt yourself in an attractive way. She's just not doing it. She's not doing it. You know, and it doesn't make any sense because she has so many people around her. So like, how the fuck are they not helping her pull it off? I don't understand. It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. Like, she should be able. She has like an entire team of like, you know, people with like resources. How come they're not able to help her pull that off? Maybe she just doesn't listen to them. That could be the problem. You know, who knows?
I was 18 years old. I didn't want to say bitch.
Which, again, that line is just incredible. Because JoJo manages to once again take an idea that could be perfectly relatable about striving to be more authentic in her art and why that's intimidating, and ruins it by just having to say that she's the absolute best in a space that she's just now entering. Like, JoJo has unironically compared swapping colored gemstones for black ones to Miley's Rebrand in 2014.
And it is the full 180 moment that I've always wanted. And the fact that people are comparing it to Miley's Bangers moment, like, goal achieved.
Which, no.
He moves out.
Damn. Sounds like she takes a lot of inspiration from other people and she really wants to be like them. I feel like part of her probably just doesn't really know what she wants to be in herself. She seems to be all over the fucking place with just like what her desires are and her goals.
You've got the tickets.
I feel bad for her, honestly. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the outfit, but I will say this is a better job of having a little more sex appeal than somebody else. I still don't particularly care for it, but, you know, better than fucking whatever the hell JoJo Siwa's doing.
Also, she thinks that she's pulled...
I feel like, you know what JoJo could have done? She could have changed her fucking name. She could have named, like, Joanne Siwa. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the first thing I would have done. JoJo Siwa? Who's going to take that seriously? Sounds like a goddamn circus character.
Pulled this off better than anyone since.
No child star has done this since her, and they have had beautiful transitions. Olivia Rodrigo has had one of the most incredible success stories as a musician.
I don't know who that is.
As a young musician.
Sorry.
But there was no flip. There was no like child star flip like Miley had.
Which also, no.
Dirk and Kirk, you have a sister named Smirk.
I don't even know who this is, but I think what she means is it wasn't a flip. It wasn't like really quick transition. It was like a slow transition. I don't know if that is or isn't true. That just sounds like what she's trying to say. She's not saying that she didn't change dramatically. I think she's trying, and I could be wrong, but I think she's trying to say that she just didn't change quickly, right?
Can't hear you. When I go down under, do you miss me? He's so big, I felt it in my kidney.
But that does beg a good question. I just named over a dozen people who have successfully done what JoJo is failing at. I mean, Sabrina Carpenter was even able to go from being disliked to loved. And hell,
unless JoJo is doing this to intentionally provoke people to hate her. And then she could hit rock bottom and she could do a massive flip and people would be like, wow, she really recovered. People love a good comeback story. She's on that underdog status, baby. You know what I mean? Hey, something to think about. Doubtful that it's correct. But you know what? It's still a thought in my fucking goddamn head. So...
she had it worse than JoJo, getting her start on a pretty negatively received show and was best known for being the other woman in the biggest breakup album of 2021. Yet she's doing better than anyone could have expected. So what is it about JoJo's rebrand that's holding her back? Well, those people I named, most of them just
probably the fucking outfit.
Grew up. Like, for the most part, it just felt like their contracts with Disney or Nickelodeon ended, so they wanted to be more authentic and experimental. But nothing pisses the internet off quicker than someone being inauthentic. And with JoJo Siwa, there isn't an ounce of authenticity to this. Like, this so-called rebrand just feels like a business decision that's meant to further her career and get people talking. Hell, she openly admits that that's all this is.
When I Was 8 is when Miley had her bangers.
You know, it's interesting. It doesn't seem like, this is weird, but it doesn't seem like she's struggling at all with being a child actor in an explicit way. She's definitely struggling when it comes to like her ability to mature functionally and correctly. But I feel like a lot of these other child actors, especially the women, they've struggled with like fame. You see the Britney Spears meltdown. I think a lot of it has to do with being sexualized too, because like a lot of these young kids get sexualized, especially the women specifically, which is a sad thing, and it fucks up with their mental. Trying to sound like one of the cool kids, they're mental. But she doesn't seem to have that struggle. You know, it seems to be very. I'm surprised. I don't know. I mean, I guess nobody sexualized her. I have no idea how they did with the dance moms. You know, she was an ugly kid. Personally, if I was a pedophile, yeah. Sorry, that was a little inappropriate. Fuck, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, pulling that back. Yeah, she doesn't seem to actively struggle. If anything, she almost seems to cope. She's having like the reverse. She's having like the opposite of like an opposite almost, and we'll be a little disproportionate, but like an opposite trauma response. You know, it's like when something really bad happens to you, like, oh, something like really bad happens to you, and you'll cope by like, well, this is horrible, right? Like, so like most child actors, they'll be like, oh, this is terrible, or at least like the Miley Cyruses and the Britney Spears, and they'll have a little bit of a breakdown. But for her, it seems like it's the opposite. She's just like, no, I deserved all of it. It's fucking fine, and like that's how she rationalizes it. You know what I mean?
Moment, and I was like, all I want is to have that one day. Like, I want that. And honestly,
have I heard from Ooga Booga in a while? No, I haven't. It's been a long time.
Since I was like 15, like my whole like inner circle has been like talking about.
Don't clip that. Shut the fuck up. Stop.
About and like getting excited for it.
I don't care if people like it. I don't care if people hate it. But I want people to turn their head at it. And I want people to notice it.
Okay, to review, that was her openly admitting that she's been.
I got some water. Love you.
Planning this for a decade, meaning it has nothing to.
There's no way she's been like actively and intentionally planning this for a fucking decade. There's just no way. I don't believe that. She would have been like a 10-year-old, right? How old is this woman, right? JoJo Siwa age. Is she 21 now? At the most, she's 20. They're playing this for a decade. That's a loose plan. Okay? That's about as hard as my poop. It's a loose poop. That's the joke. There's no way she's been planning this for a decade.
To do with her naturally maturing as a person. Like celebrities who rebrand don't go calling it a rebrand even when it's extremely calculated. And this is part of what makes this so-called rebrand such a turnoff to anyone who wasn't.
Yeah, it makes it come off. It makes the rebrand come off as more authentic, even if it's not necessary. Like, it's all very targeted and it's all very specific. You know, it's all very intentional, but it makes it come off a little bit, you know, different. It's or authentic is what the word that we're going for here. You know, so I'm gonna eat a little bit. I'm hungry. I got some burgers that my wife made. We're gonna play the video though.
Already against JoJo. She says things like,
I'm sorry, the old JoJo can't come to the phone right now.
Here's my rebrand.
What? That doesn't dreamland.
But she still is the old JoJo. In fact, if she wasn't constantly talking up how much of a revolutionary she is, then I don't think most people would realize that this was supposed to be a rebrand. Like, Karma is a pretty safe song, both lyrically and musically. So she's trying to come across as this gay rebel, but she's the exact opposite of rebellious.
She should have just done that. She should have just like made the song and not like hyped it up so much. Because I feel like some of it too is like, damn, this is all you got, bitch. Sorry. You know, you went through all this like, oh, I'm doing a rebrand, blah, blah, and this is what you're going to give us? The hell are you talking about?
Again, just cursing was something that was intimidating for her. Not to mention that she has gone out of her way to clarify on multiple occasions that Karma's lyrics don't actually apply to her, despite how tame those lyrics are.
I didn't want to say I was a bad girl because I wasn't a bad girl. So then we did some versions of the song.
Then I became a bad girl. What did I do? I stopped using coasters. I'm a fucking bad girl.
You know, we did a version where it was, you were a bad girl. You did some bad things.
And it's, the first word is, I was a bad girl. And I was like, oh, it's a good song. I was like, but I can't say that. I can't say I'm a bad girl. I'm not.
She seems like she might be kind of a bad person a little bit, but
I was 18, fresh off of my Dream the Tour, and I was like, I can't say I sang Every Girl's a Super Girl last week. Like, I can't sing I was a bad girl this week. It doesn't work. I was very afraid of the lyrics of Karma. I wasn't ready to say I was a bad girl. I wasn't ready to say I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around.
this is crazy. I feel like it's not that, like it's not even that crazy.
Another late night, another crazy mood, and I didn't think twice what it would do to you. I didn't feel comfortable.
That's a bar. That's a bar. Are you ghostwriting for Drake?
Singing that yet. I didn't feel comfortable singing that yet.
So, okay, she looks like a rejected WWE fighter.
Whoa, no, it looks like all the Road Warriors.
But what else changed with this rebrand? And even with that, she's basically just using a monochrome version of the fashions she's had for a decade. Like, here are some black and white photos of JoJo Siwa in costume. Can you confidently pick out which ones are from this rebrand without—
Yes, this one. Oh, wait, am I wrong?
Using her aid.
Oh, shit. Okay, I got this one right. They all look the same anyway. Yeah, thank you so much for my father, Papa Gut's father, for the $2. Actually, I'm daddy. Never get it twisted. Incredible.
Not to mention that she unironically drives around in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that car just screams Daryl Dixon levels of cool, doesn't it? Like,
that's weird, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm trying to think, like, would I do that? It would be funny if I had a car with, like, my profile picture on it or something, like a goofy one of my old TikTok one where I'm, like, looking down. But also, that's just weird as hell, girl. Like, that's a little full of yourself. It doesn't look good. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what her perspective is. If her perspective is, I'm amazing, I'm the best, which there's some pretty good credibility to that claim that she thinks that. Or is her perspective like, oh, this is brand awareness, right? Because I get it from that perspective. Oh, it's brand awareness. Me personally, I just don't like when people necessarily notice me in the public, you know? So
both Karma and how JoJo talks are pretty—
I mean, it's cool when people do and like they say hi to me, but I'm not like advertising it. Like, hey guys, I'm Uppercut, man, you know?
typical for a 20-year-old.
My wife does sometimes wear a sweatshirt with my face on it, though, old merch back in the day. So that part does exist.
She's so convinced that she's doing something edgy and risky.
We wanted to create some sort of animalistic, some sort of beast, some sort of up dance.
Damn, she did this in New York. She should have got Josh. New York. You know what I'm talking about?
Really made people's heads turn.
And for yet another example, there's this viral clip of her at the iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, let's spice things up. One of my exes.
She was so shocked by her own thing.
Like, I'm sorry, but that
was incredible. That's fucking crazy.
was the answer I would expect a 12-year-old to think was controversial. Yet JoJo's reaction clearly—
It's not even just what she said, it's just how she said it. It's like, it's so funny.
shows that she has that same standard, but somehow is doing this once-in-a-generation rebrand of being in her adult era. Like, you know what would have been some actually controversial answers that would have surprised me?
Yeah, I don't care. Actually, I can't think of a single one.
Putin, Trump, Louis C.K., Caitlyn Jenner,
Yeah, Louis C.K. is a good one. That's a good one, too.
Dave Chappelle, J.K. Rowling, or Kanye.
I feel like these ones are probably not the kind of controversy. This is a little political brain rot here, for the most part. Not necessarily political with Louis C.K. But, you know, I feel like, you know, yeah, I don't know.
Look, I'm not necessarily knocking JoJo's personality, but it's really weird that she continuously—
I had my dad on. I've never met him before.
feels the need to prop
like
up her
twice.
wearing black and saying a swear as a really risky rebrand. Had she just said none of this, yeah, fewer people would know—
I don't know how she has the confidence to go out in the fucking public like that.
her song, but more would probably like it.
If some other random artist out there, and I'm sure there is, was making exactly this song and didn't have the background and the public persona and the history that JoJo Siwa does, most likely the song would not be getting any traction or attention. I mean, the track is fine. It doesn't sound awful. It's passable even, I would say. And I don't think there's anything wrong or nefarious about the way she's going about kind of relaunching her music career here. She just comes across as
Was she having a launched career in the first place?
Kind of sheltered and clueless a little bit. I mean, there is that clip of her saying she wants to make gay pop, as if that hasn't been a thing for decades. But yeah, overall, it's just kind
Call that G-pop. It's like the G-spot. Both of them hit my G-spot.
Basic.
Or if she was going to commit to being a rebel, then, I don't know, maybe get caught doing something wrong instead of saying that you're...
Yeah, get drunk, hit someone with a car. Come on, girl. With your car with your face on it. Drive away from the scene. And people will be like, was that JoJo's car? You wouldn't be able to hide it. Perfect story.
Not a bad girl. Like Justin Bieber peed in a mop bucket. You're gonna have to step it up a bit.
He peed in a mop bucket? Wow, that's fucking so cool.
All this to say that another hurdle for JoJo is that she didn't commit to anything. So instead of strengthening her brand, she...
Is he gay? He says a look about him. There's nothing wrong with that.
She arguably has less of one than ever before. Anytime she takes a step in one direction, she can't help...
What the fuck? Why does she look like Shark Boy here?
But contradict it. And it doesn't help that JoJo wanted to be controversial, but can't stand the criticisms that come with that. For example, she tries so hard to insist that this negative attention is exactly what she wants, and she's playing 4D chess with us.
Like, if people are gonna make fun of you, like, okay, you're still talking about me, I'm having fun, I'm not taking myself that seriously, I told you guys I'm not considering myself a singer, I'm a performer, I'm an artist.
Oh, you got like jingly keys on your hat in front of you. What the hell is this?
And it's making conversation.
And it's art. And people, it is doing exactly what I wanted it to. I wanted people's head.
More like fart.
As a turn, I wanted people to go, right. What?
Right.
I wanted people to go, what is she saying? Honestly, what I didn't expect is for people to know every lyric that's been released.
I don't care if people like it. I don't care if people hate it.
Well, didn't she buy it from someone else?
But I want people to turn their head at it.
Damn, he got that. He's got the modification here that says what's the like ratio is.
And I want people to notice it.
Like it or not? What's been in your head the last 3 days?
But again, the moment she's criticized for something, she panics and plays the victim.
Have you
Again, didn't she or she did admit that she was wrong, just to be clear. You know, I'm just saying. We watched that.
Here's the thing. I'd be like, I support world peace. And the world would be like, you asshole. No matter what the line of the world's gonna twist and turn and make it anything. So, you think I get hate? What are you talking about?
My whole life has been criticized and judged and watched. I've had a lot of people say really cruel things to me, but I was the one.
I mean, that's probably very true. That's definitely true. So, just to be clear, that's one of yeah, that probably is very true. Probably has weight on her mental. She might just like be jaded. That's probably how she copes. She'll be like, everybody's just full of shit. You know, makes kind of sense. It's not right, but it makes sense.
One that went down in flames for it. Like everyone was doing it. I was the one that went down in flames for it.
And this flip-flopping is what makes it so obvious that
I wish you went in flames, but you were Lava Boy instead. Shark Boy. Not Lava Girl.
JoJo is engaging in basic marketing while convincing herself it's revolutionary. You know, other than JoJo telling us that directly. So with all this negative energy surrounding JoJo, it was the perfect time for someone else to shine. Enter Brit Smith. See, despite
who the fuck is Brit Smith?
JoJo talking about the process of making the lyrics work and going for a 2010s vibe during her interviews.
If you listen to the first version of Karma, whole different song. The bridge, whole different bridge. The song does sound like a 2010 record. It does, and that was the goal.
She didn't write Karma herself, nor was she the first to record the song or even make a music video.
Did she insinuate that she was?
See, in 2012, Brit Smith was given the song Karma, same lyrics and all.
From what I understand, you actually recorded this song back in 2012?
Yes, yeah, back in 2012, so it's a shock to me.
Oh, so she also got the song. It wasn't her song, so she was gonna get it, then she passed over on it, so JoJo bought it. Interesting.
That it's got a new life, which is amazing.
And listening to Brit talk about her time in the industry, it's kind of the perfect underdog story.
It was supposed to be my first single, and just sort of things changed, and I went with Provocative instead, and shouldn't have done that, really. We should have gone with Karma. That was my first choice, but label things got in the way, and I kind of was led in that direction, and we went with Provocative, and then I left.
Damn, imagine she went with Karma instead, and then JoJo was singing Provocative right now. Shit.
The industry after that.
I mean, that is a story, man. A musician who was the victim of a bad label and left the industry only to be accidentally...
Well, let's be clear. It doesn't just because she didn't do the Karma song doesn't mean that it would have been good. Like if she did, you know what I mean?
Rediscovered over a decade later. But what does this have to do with JoJo? Well, TikTok users were able to uncover Brit Smith's unreleased music video for Karma. And while it's not unusual for singers to use songs
uncover, or did this girl like leak it? You know what I mean?
Written by other people or from a while ago, it's just another small hint that JoJo isn't passionate about honing their craft with music, but just wants a way to expand their fame. And once Brit's version of the song was posted, people loved it, saying that it was simply better, including the vocals, the instrumental, and even her music video. So instead of wowing people with her music debut, JoJo ended up highlighting an
was that black guy?
Artist who had long since quit. And Brit's not the only person whose spin on Karma has received praise.
Well, obviously, they're going to say, I mean, like, we're at a point now where I don't know if it's better or worse. I don't really care. But it doesn't matter. They're going to say that the other person's is better anyway because they don't like JoJo Siwa. She's, you know, so I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that it isn't better. I'm just saying that it doesn't really matter. People don't like JoJo. And that is part of the music. How much somebody likes a particular artist is going to have an impact.
So it's literally just JoJo.
Now, as you've seen, JoJo doesn't take criticism very well, nor does she seem to really understand the internet, especially the fact that when the internet realizes they can get a reaction out of someone, they're not going to leave that person alone. So after days
That part is very true.
of hearing that Brit Smith was better than her, TMZ actually asked JoJo about it, to which she somehow made things even worse by saying this.
Did you steal it from Brit Smith?
I did not steal anything. There's no such thing as stealing.
Yeah.
I also don't know who Brit Smith is.
She sung it before you, apparently. And it's been going viral online.
Clearly not that well, because I haven't even seen it. It's not me, so.
Which might sound
No, it's not really that big of a deal. She probably knows who it is, though. That's a lie, but it seems like a fine answer.
minor, but here's the thing. When someone in media is saying, I don't know who that person is, it is very easy for that to come off as them insinuating that the person in question isn't relevant enough to be worth knowing.
Well, I mean, that is true. That person is not relevant. Let's be real. Not even close to as relevant she is.
What do you think about people still referencing I don't know her all these years later?
I still don't know her.
I've recently heard that Ariana said she had no idea who you were and she just dated you as a distraction. So now I just think it's like fair game.
And because it's often used as an insult, most media-trained people would phrase that kind of thing far more politically instead of putting it as bluntly as, well, JoJo did. And here's the thing. It's very possible
I don't really care about this one. This doesn't really seem that big of a deal.
that she didn't mean for that to be an insult, the same way that's possible.
That is true. Stealing is a thing. And since she's DMCA striking people like me, Canyon obviously thinks she agrees that it is a thing.
She didn't mean to say that she's inventing gay pop. But after spending a decade as a celebrity, you would think that JoJo would have some level of media training. Like, to be fair, her
That is true.
clarifications usually make sense, so why not just say that the first time so people don't have reasons to think you're being insincere? Again, JoJo's character is irrelevant. All that matters is what the public thinks of her. And now that she's finally steering her own ship, she just doesn't know how to play the game. Though Brit Smith, she most certainly does. See, after JoJo's comment, Brit actually released her original version of Karma as, well, a cover of JoJo's song that was recorded 10 years before the original.
Yeah, about to say, like, how does that work legally? Because I imagine it's not her song anymore, so she has to consider it a cover in some capacity. How does that work?
Yeah, again, the details of how JoJo messed this up are so uniquely specific that it's honestly kind of impressive. But not only did Brit release her version, it actually went on to chart better than JoJo Siwa's. To really put that into perspective, we are talking about someone with absolutely no following beating out someone with tens of millions of followers thanks to the sheer spite that Goliath created.
I was going to say, most of it's spite driven.
And now Brit is announced
Like Anthony Fantino said, if she had released it by herself, she probably wouldn't have gotten shit on it, you know?
that she's going to be
Since she's not really necessarily known.
releasing an EP next month, which includes some of her unreleased music from back in the day.
I'm inspired by all the comments that people are writing to me saying they'd like to hear
I
more.
understand he said cover. I wonder how a cover works, though. Like, how do you do that? Like, do you have to license that, you know?
So I do have lots of songs that I've written, and so it's kind of making me question, like, maybe I should, you know, jump back in a
One second.
little bit. I do have lots of songs that I've inspired by all the comments that people are writing to me saying they'd like to hear more. So I do have lots of songs that I've written, and so it's kind of making me question, like, maybe I should, you know, jump back in a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like, how long has it been? I wonder if that would go well for her, but, you know, God bless.
Yeah, Brit Smith, unlike JoJo, seems to be rather media savvy. I mean, nothing gets people mobilized online quite like mutual dislike. Add in the relatable underdog story, and you have a really good thing going. And I think above all else, Brit's story shows just how far an authentic persona and good story can get you. Whereas JoJo, man, she's trying to do music while using a look that's clearly inspired by Kiss, yet she doesn't know who Gene Simmons is.
I'm getting like a sexy glam Gene Simmons sea creature.
Ooh.
going on here.
You know, the amount of references that people have told me I look like in this video that I have no clue what they are is
That's interesting.
sickening.
And to be fair,
Nobody said, like, this kind of looks like Gene Simmons to her ever before, like, while they were putting the costume on, like any of her private entourage or whatever, her mom, no.
a lot of JoJo's mistakes are somewhat
Covers are transformative, no licensing needed. Is that true? Interesting.
understandable coming from someone who doesn't seem to have much of an interest in PR. But before she ever said the word karma, JoJo made an incredibly amateur mistake that shows just how in over her head
While you don't need permission to cover a song, you do have to obtain a mechanical license before you release it. This ensures that the writer and publisher of the song both get paid and credited properly. So apparently you do need to get like some kind of a license to do that. Yeah. You can use samples of other people's music in your own music video. You should first obtain it with okay, yeah, interesting.
she really is. What do I mean? Well, if you're trying to grow a following, the most basic but important step is figuring out your target audience, which makes sense, right? Like, how can you expect success unless you identify who you're trying to appeal to and develop a sense for what they want to see from you? And with the rebrand, it's even more delicate because you're trying to change that demographic. So how does that apply to JoJo? Well, there's a really basic question that should be clear as day, and yet it's not. What demographic is JoJo trying to win over? Like, who exactly is her target audience supposed to be? Like, okay, it's not children anymore because she's in her so-called adult era, and it's not the older crowd because because
it's still gonna be children. She doesn't really have an adult appeal.
Rebel is one of the last things they'd support. Okay, so maybe it's millennials, the late 20s, early 30s crowd. Well, JoJo made
maybe wrestlers. I don't know.
This statement.
How old are you?
29.
Yep, you're the age that judges me.
So I guess not, which would only leave the early 20s crowd, right? But wait, who do you think is making fun of her on TikTok if not that audience? I mean, let's face it, Gen Z are the people who never forget your misdeeds. So if you take JoJo's
yeah, which is, I mean, annoying, no? I don't think it's just Gen Z. I think it's just how the internet operates, where they'll constantly highlight all the bad stuff done in the past and just constantly like barrage,
problematic past and combine it with every time she opens her mouth during this media tour, it makes sense that Gen Z seems pretty thoroughly done with her. Not to mention that Gen Z possibly has the largest queer population ever.
Ew.
And if you remember, JoJo managed to piss off that entire community. So yeah, losing Gen Z was the last nail in the coffin for her because that was the audience she needed to capture. Like generally, if you look at other instances of adult era type rebrands, it's usually just a celebrity trying to make sure their audience grows up with them, all to ensure that whatever following they do have is locked in before trying to reach beyond that. And I think JoJo having such a wide-ranging audience,
it's usually just them like showing their boobs and stuff, being the that's always a rebrand for a lot of these women who transition from like child stars into adult stars or try to,
since adults were following her.
I'm not saying I want that. Like I said, like what? They look like they're in like My Hero Academia cosplay. What the fuck's happening here?
Dance moms and kids on social media, it made her careless when it came time to make a change. She wanted to do something different without realizing that whatever that entails, A, needed to actually be appealing to some demographic, but also B, needed to feel like an actual reflection of her growth.
Do you think that she actually felt sexy there? Like she was like, I feel so sexy right now, dressed up like this. Weird, just weirdly.
As a person,
she doesn't know who Gene Simmons is. I can't even say that.
Rather than just a business move. For the last decade, the media has made sure that people from all walks of life would love JoJo, but she failed to realize that came from a carefully calculated campaign rather than her having some infectious personality. And while I'm sure this has been
Blue's Clues?
A hard lesson for her to learn, I am interested in seeing if JoJo decides to stick with traditional media after her experiences online.
How old is she here? She looks the same as she does now. Is this her as a child? This is fucking crazy. She has not grown up at all.
Like maybe a one-way platform is the only place she can thrive. Now, if you'll excuse me, I just spent weeks of my life analyzing this. So I want to make the most of this video with a really effective rebrand inspired by JoJo Siwa. But it has to be something bold, something that's brave, something that only I could do as the person to invent the concept of a white man making essay commentary hybrid videos. And I know just the thing. Oh, can't forget. Yeah, move over, JoJo. Rebrand of the decade, try rebrand of the century.
Incredible. All right, it's interesting stuff, guys.